Hi, everybody. This is Saad. Last night, Brian Keating, the physicist from UCSD, I've been on his show and he'll be coming on my show soon, asked me to share a 10-minute clip of a conversation that he had with the physicist and science communicator Neil deGrasse Tyson, where uh, Neil was arguing that certain comments that are levied at him are a manifestation of racism, and specifically, he was, accusing Brian of engaging in such practices. Before I get into those details, I guess I will contextualize what I'm about to talk about within the context of the parasitic mind. I have a section in the book where I talk about all roads lead to bigotry, whereby there is no way that you can falsify the premise that you are a racist. And so let me explain these examples, and then I will link it to the discussion between deGrasse Tyson and Keating. So if you say that you are uniquely attracted, say you're a man who's sexually attracted to black women, then that is a form of sexual racism, because you are objectifying, uh, uh, you know, uh, exotifying. I just made up that word. You are fetishizing their black bodies. If you were to say, I am not attracted to black women, right? I'm attracted to Lebanese women, then you are engaging in sexual racism. Why aren't you attracted to black women? So if you are specifically attracted to black women, you're a racist. And if you're not attracted to black women, you're a racist. Let's take another example. If you are somebody who says that I'm attracted to heavy women, well, you are engaging in a form of sexual fatism, because you are objectifying their fat folds. You are fetishizing their fatness. If you say, I'm not attracted to 500-pound women, well, then you're a fattest. Why? Big women deserve love too. So you are a fattest bigot if you're attracted to fat women, and you are a fattest bigot if you're not. Let's take transgendered folks. If you say, I am a man who likes to sleep with women that have 9-inch penises, then you are engaging in, if you're fetishizing the transgendered. So you are basically transphobic. If you say, I am a heterosexual man who prefers my women to have vaginas rather than 9-inch penises, well, then you're engaging in cis sexism. I explain all this in the Parasitic Mind. So if you're attracted to transgendered women, meaning biological men, you are a bigot. And if you're not, because you prefer women who have vaginas, then you're also a bigot. I also explain in the Parasitic Mind that a Israeli doctoral student had conducted some research where she wanted to demonstrate that the Israeli Defense Forces were engaging in rampant systemic rapes of Palestinian women. To her chagrin, she found out that not a single case could be found of the IDF soldiers raping Palestinian women. Did she alter her a priori hypothesis? Of course not. The fact that the Israeli soldiers were not raping Palestinian women was a manifestation of how much they demonized the women. They weren't even good enough to rape them. Look how bad the IDF soldiers are. So if you raped Palestinian women, of course you'd be a monster. But if you don't rape them, you're a monster. Let me give you one more example. A student at Queen's University wanted to show that Canadian society was, engaging in rampant Islamophobia. And so she donned a hijab, I think it was for 18 days, and she wanted to document how people would treat her when they saw her, donning the hijab. And she found out that people were incredibly kind and sweet and polite and respectful to her. Did she alter her a priori position that Canadian society is endemically Islamophobic? No. She argued that the fact that people were so nice to her was exactly proof of their Islamophobia, because they were hiding their latent bigotry, their hidden bigotry, and they were overcompensating for it by being kind. So, in other words, if she had documented overt cases of bigotry, then that would be proof that Canadian society is Islamophobic. And if she documented no such cases, that would be proof that they were bigoted. All discussed in the Parasitic Mind. If you haven't purchased a copy yet, one wonders why. Are you some kind of anti-vaxxer of the human mind? So I've given you a bunch of examples that fail Popper's falsification principle, right? Karl Popper, the philosopher of science, argued that for something to be within the realm of science, therefore within the realm of reason, evidence-based thinking, within logic, there has to be a way for us to falsify it. Otherwise, it enters the world of booga booga, right? It enters the world of religion or superstition, right? So for example, fatalism, or, it's my fate, can never be falsified. If I walk outside today and a truck hits me, it was my destiny to be hit by a truck. If I walk out today and I'm not hit by a truck, it was my destiny. So how could I ever falsify the fact that everything is due to destiny? I can't. That's why destiny is not within the realm of the scientific method. So now let's return to Neil deGrasse Tyson and Brian Keating. Neil deGrasse Tyson said to Brian that, he was offended when he heard, I think it was Brian who levied this question or comment to him, that, that deGrasse Tyson was naturally gifted, right? And that was a form of racism, because if you contrast being naturally gifted versus hardworking, he was implying that somehow he's naturally gifted rather than hardworking, whereas he was correcting Brian and saying that, but I have always been hardworking. So by you saying that I'm naturally gifted, that is promulgating an old racist trope. So you can't say to a black person that they are naturally gifted at something. So, and then I got into a debate with my very good friend Michael Shermer, whom I love and is one of the truly greatest gentlemen that one could ever hope to meet, who said, well, Gad, I think I disagree with you in this case, because it is a historical racist trope. Magic Johnson is naturally gifted, whereas Larry Bird is hardworking. Well, guess what? Michael Johnson does have greater athleticism than Larry Bird. There's nothing racist about that. So then I gave the following analogy. Lionel Messi is naturally gifted. Cristiano Ronaldo is hardworking. What does that mean? Messi plays effortlessly. It's innate. Ronaldo, now that doesn't mean that, by the way, Messi is both naturally gifted and hardworking. So I made the point that these two constructs are hardly mutually exclusive. Most of the great players, Michael Jordan is very hardworking and is naturally gifted, as is Kobe Bryant. Larry Bird was not a model of athleticism. Saying so doesn't promulgate a racist trope. It says that you have eyes. Some people move better. Some people jump higher. Some people are more adept at mathematics. When I was a math student, there was a student that became sort of legendary amongst us, who then went on to become a leading professor in mathematics, who was naturally gifted. Now, are we allowed to say that he was naturally gifted because he was of a particular skin hue? It's insane. You're trying to find racism where no such racism exists. It doesn't make sense that we have to modulate our thinking and our words in whether we say to someone that they're naturally gifted or not as a function of their skin color. Some people are naturally gifted irrespective of their race. Some people are hardworking irrespective of their race. Many people are both irrespective of their race. And certainly I don't think that Brian Keating was in any way racist by saying that Neil deGrasse Tyson was naturally gifted. Then he went on, he meaning Neil deGrasse Tyson, and said that, when someone comes up to me and says, my God, you're so articulate, that is a form of racism, because it's as though it's surprising. Oh, a black guy who is articulate. That's insane. Now, again, Michael Shermer here pointed to Joe Biden from Scranton, Ohio, good old Joe, who said about Obama, he's the first black candidate who is clean and articulate. Context matters. In this case, Biden's statement does sound suspect. It does sound as though it is racist, because you're saying, he doesn't fit some exemplar, some stereotype. But let's suppose there is a black individual who is truly articulate, right? I mean, Martin Luther King was a great orator. So the thousands and millions of people who said that, my goodness, what a great, inspiring orator Martin Luther King is, were they engaging in racism, or did they simply recognize through their ears that when this man speaks, he can move people, he is articulate? And I joked, I said, well, if telling Neil deGrasse Tyson that he is articulate is a form of racism, then when people tell me that I am eloquent, wise, and good-looking, they are engaging in anti-Semitism, right? I'm offering some levity because it points to the fact that it is insane that we have to modulate how we met out compliments as a function of a person's skin hue. This has to stop. One of the foundational liberating values of the West is the commitment to individual dignity. Imagine if we now have to be so circumspect in our verbalization of compliments that if I were to meet Neil deGrasse Tyson, listen to a lecture, and then think, my God, he was so eloquent, I just love this guy. And if I wanted to walk up to him and in complete innocence say, my God, you have such a beautiful way with words. And by the way, I'm not suggesting he does, but let's suppose I thought that. I shouldn't say that to Neil deGrasse Tyson because I would be racist. So there is racism in society. I come from societies that are defined by bigotry. I know what bigotry is, and calling someone articulate or calling them naturally gifted in a perfectly innocent way is hardly a manifestation of racism. We can do better. Cheers, everybody.